Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, how you folks doing? Welcome back to another edition of the Con and Bob podcast. I'm your host, Con. That goof over there, his name's Bob. How you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Pretty good. I can't complain. You know, wrestling was interesting this week, to say the least. We had some amazing stuff and then weird stuff. Very weird.
Yeah, we were just there's some awesome things and there's some things that obviously we were just talking about it before we started, and I said they obviously don't want to risk anything.
Yeah, like with WrestleMania being right around the corner, you don't want to risk losing anybody to injury or anything like that, right? So it makes sense that it was a little bit easier of a week, but at the same time, the segments that we watched were so story-driven that they were really, really good this week. Like, I enjoyed the stories being told from basically every single feud. Like, if they have a story going on, I enjoyed the story that they were telling right before WrestleMania.
Yeah, this should almost be how, and I guess WrestleMania is so much bigger, but this should almost be how every single go-home show is.
Yeah, you could say that for sure. There's definitely a few things that they missed on the go-home shows. But
I mean, focusing on, the rivalries heading into the show.
Yes, definitely. Right? Yeah, no, that I 100% agree with that. I would say more so just the placement of segments on the card needed to be done a little bit better for both Raw and SmackDown, I feel. So yeah, there was definitely some things that they nailed this week. There's some things that they missed on, so we're going to cover all that right about now. So let's start off with Stephanie McMahon's awesome announcement for the WrestleMania main event. Now, you guessed this last week. I will give you 100% of the credit right here. So if you want to talk about how happy you are, what you like about it, all that stuff.
I will gladly confront all of the smarks out there. All of the smarks who were like, the final shot of Mania is going to be the 4 horsewomen holding up the titles.
Yeah,
no.
Doesn't look like that anymore. Nope.
It's just obvious not. I think the way that they're leaning is probably unification of the titles.
Mm-hmm.
They went a very long time with just one women's title, and in a good-ish era, of women's wrestling.
Whoa, what?
The top talent was good. It was Trish, Lita, others.
Okay.
There was
dude, the top talent was fine. Let's push on past that. The women's division was not good for a very long time. Continue on.
This is obviously the best division,
yes.
But what I'm saying is that they went on with one title when the division was
weak.
Good-ish.
When the division was weak. Say that.
Sorry,
you're allowed to say that.
When the top talent was good.
All right, but I'm not good.
When the talent focused on the title was good, right?
But I know what you're saying.
We have a full division of tag titles. The depth of the roster, of the women's roster, can now be utilized in different ways rather than just, that's the SmackDown title picture, that's the Raw title picture. And we run into that issue where we're like, it gets a little stale, the SmackDown title picture, because we don't have that top tier talent feel like the Raw title picture is. So if we have one title in this women's division, I think, and then we have the tag titles, and then possibly a second title, a mid-card title, if they can find a way to kind of, I don't know how they would categorize it other than just another women's title.
Yeah.
But eventually down the road. But I think this is going towards unification, and I like how Steph did it too. Again, Steph and Trips are headed toward full-blown babyfaceville.
Yeah. They're basically already there.
Yeah, exactly. And she did it in a goofy way of, it's about to get even better when I add myself to the match. And everyone starts booing. She's like, come on. Yeah. Obviously not. She laughs it off. So I really enjoyed that. And then also, too, this isn't really about this segment, but I enjoyed how quickly the next segment started after that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with that.
Enjoyed how like she wasn't even off.
Yeah, you and me, we've talked about this in the past, how creating a nice flow to the show is very important, you know? You don't want to make it feel like every segment is its own segment. You want to find ways to cross people over. I love when an entrance music kicks on when somebody's leaving the ring, right? And then they have that little stare down as they walk by. You could start a feud with that. Like having those little crossover segments. It's really easy stuff to plant seeds all over the show if you cross over segments with each other. So yeah, I really liked how they jumped right into the segment after that. Just really quickly to your point there, I'm not sure if they are in fact going to do a unification though. I can see them for a while holding on to just the dual champs, kind of like they did with the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship, where they had two championships over their head, saying she's the double champ. That's how they closed off SmackDown, right? And obviously, you know, there's another Irish champ out there who just kind of retired from MMA, so I don't think that little nugget of the double champ is going to be lost on anybody.
Yeah, I don't think that the unification will happen anytime soon, but it's essentially unification because I doubt she's going to be defending individual titles. Like, any title defense will not just be the SmackDown
We'll see. We will see. Like, I don't want to jump into that right now for sure because we don't know what's going down with this. We've just heard that it's all titles on the line. I don't doubt for a second that Becky Lynch could probably hold on to the dual championships until Money in the Bank, and somebody would cash in Money in Bank to take the other championship away from her.
That could happen. Way to do it.
That could happen. So I don't know for sure if they are going to unify the belts. I don't know if they plan on doing that right now, but they definitely do plan on putting two belts on one woman, whoever it is. And I think that's the right call. You know, it makes the WrestleMania main event feel big. And you can, and if you do want to do a unification, then I think you're going to have fan support with that as well. Maybe like you brought up in the past, they might be moving towards an all-women show, and where they're going to have one championship, one tag titles, and like you mentioned, some sort of mid-card title. So that might be the direction they're heading in. We just don't know until after WrestleMania what's going to happen. Is it going to be an official unification or not? That's the exciting part to watch. But yeah, the crossover led to Rollins and Brock Lesnar, that awesome little segment. I really liked it. I liked the promo from Paul Heyman beforehand. Basically said all the same stuff, right, as they've always said. But this time, Rollins actually got himself over, made himself look like a threat to Brock Lesnar, but it took a low blow. Took two low blows. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps Lesnar strong. It shows that Rollins is willing to do anything to win the title, to slay the beast. I don't know. I doubt that we're getting any sort of stipulation to the match.
Yeah.
Because of it. They haven't announced anything, but you know WWE loves to announce random things on the night of pay-per-views, and we're like, oh, this one-on-one just turned into a fatal four-way for the title. Cool.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
True.
But yeah, I don't know what like the significance of the low blow was in it, but I do really like that he got the upper hand.
Mm-hmm. I think the significance of the low blow was literally, as you said, he's willing to do anything to win the championship, to get that title off of Brock, to win it for the fans. I would not be surprised if at some point in that match the referee gets knocked down and Seth Rollins delivers a low blow or two in that match, and that's how he ends up, delivering the curb stomp to pin Brock Lesnar and win the title. And then you very well could have people saying he cheated to win, and you create dynamics moving forward, right, in storylines. That could happen if they want to play into the low blow. I don't even know though. They might not even give Seth the win. Normally the way that it works is on the go-home show, whoever's left standing tall doesn't normally win at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I was thrown by that.
I just don't know it. And you start looking up and down the card, and you start looking at where are heels going to win in matches. Well, you don't want it to win in the Becky, Charlotte, Ronda match, because you want Becky to win there. You cannot have Daniel Bryan retain the WWE Championship over Kofi Kingston. without without a heel turn from somebody else, right? Without a heel turn from somebody else. Like, you're going to get some sort of story out of that. But anyways, you start looking at the fan service. You're probably going to have AJ Styles go over Randy Orton. You're probably going to have you're probably going to have like Boss 'n' Hug win the tag titles again, or continue to hold on to them. You start looking at where,
but I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too as well, because there is possibility that they put it on Natty and Beth as well, right? But anyways, regardless, there is a lot of baby faces that are probably set to win at WrestleMania. And we know Vince McMahon loves the heat that Brock Lesnar has, and it's very difficult to get heels hated in the business these days, and Brock is really hated.
And if the rumors from a while ago are true that Ronda might be taking a little break, right? I don't know if we've heard any updates about that, but if she is taking a little break after Mania, then where's the star power? It's with Lesnar, right?
Yep.
So when Lesnar's your top champion, when he's your right now, Ronda Rousey is the star power.
I agree.
Because from the non-wrestling fan view, like, or not the...
Well, even in both, like, to be quite honest. Yeah, like, even in both, like, she is a big star, right?
I know, but I mean, for you and I, there's many other star powers. But for someone who watches very casual, the casual fan, the people who just take their kids, whatnot, Ronda Rousey is the star power. She's the name.
Yep.
Brock Lesnar is the name. So it's if Ronda Rousey is going to be taking a break, then it's they got to keep it with Brock probably. But I don't know. It's tough.
It is tough, man. I honestly don't know how they're going to go about it. You got to have some heels win at WrestleMania. Do they put, like, frig, like, is the heel Baron Corbin winning over Kurt in his last match? If
it's Corbin versus Kurt, if it ends up being that still, then I think Corbin might.
It's very difficult because you got to have heels win at WrestleMania, right? You got to have some strong heels coming out of the show of shows. You got to have some people who are hated as a result. It's just whether it's going to be Brock Lesnar. Is it going to be multiple people? Is there going to be a weird heel turn that we don't see coming at WrestleMania?
I think there's a heel turn coming. I think there is a heel turn coming, and I think it is Boss 'n' Hug.
Ooh.
And I'm very excited about it if it happens.
Ooh. All right. Well, speaking of Boss 'n' Hug, why don't we get right into that, man? Let's get
quick, hang on before we go. I just wanted to say that very first segment, I loved that Steph didn't come down to the ring.
Yeah.
I loved that she stayed on the ramp, like, quick. They don't need to start it out in the ring talking every time. It was quick, smooth, went into the real segment, which was nice. Boss 'n' Hug.
Cool. Just before we get into that, though, I do want to apologize to any viewers right now watching on YouTube. We do have some major lag going on with Bob's video, but it's all good. He's still here. His voice is still rolling.
My fault.
It's nothing we can do about it. It's all good. Let's get into Boss 'n' Hug, Natalya, and Beth Phoenix defeating the Iconics, Nia Jax, and Tamina. So this match literally served one purpose and one purpose only, to show that Beth Phoenix can still go in the ring, that she is still as powerful as ever, and that she is to be feared. It did a great job with that. I love the Iconics selling. Peyton Royce up in the Glam Slam.
Oh, the scream?
The scream. She caught so much attention backstage for that. Awesome stuff, Peyton. She sold the living hell out of that thing. It was amazing. That was one note that I had, mental note. As soon as I saw
I loved it. Like, she was just, her mind was going off. She was just screaming.
Yep.
The facial expression on it, very nice.
She put over Beth Phoenix, huge there, and made Beth Phoenix literally get the chance of, you've still got it. That was courtesy of Peyton Royce for making her look that good in the ring. So but no, Beth did look good inside the ring. It was nice to see her first match back inside the WWE. Correct me if I'm wrong. First time we've seen her back in an actual match.
Believe so, yeah.
So that was cool to see her back in her first match. The right decision happened there. But now why don't you get into why you think Boss 'n' Hug are going to turn heel at WrestleMania?
It's just been this build. I believe you and I talked about it last week a little bit, about how you and I have really wanted to see Bayley as a heel, and Sasha's obviously great as a heel. And it's just this way that they're building to it. I think it's going to be one of those heel type moves. And then even the fact that Beth and Natty got the pin, right? The win.
Yep.
The fact that Sasha and Bayley they did what the Revival did. They literally immediately grabbed their titles and were like, we're still the champions though. Like last week, right? Revival lost the match, but they grabbed their titles and they're like, we're still the champions. In this case, Boss and Hug won the match, but they didn't pick up the victory, if you know what I mean. They weren't the cause of the victory. So they still grabbed their titles and they're like, we're the champions though. We are still the better team. And it's just this build of, I think they might, I would be very much about it if they turn them heel in they retain the titles at Mania in a heel fashion. Probably getting the pinfall over Beth or Beth and Natty would be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Or the tap or whatever, but in a heel way. Just to be like, we will do anything to keep these titles. We're the champions. We're the best. But in like a snaky kind of way.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because we have talked a lot about how Sasha Banks is definitely a tweener right now. And Bayley is more so on the babyface side of things. But yeah, Boss and Hug are really closer to being tweeners than anything on the babyface heel scale, right? It would be a very big WrestleMania moment if they happen to turn heel.
That's what I mean.
It really would be, and it would put a lot of attention on the women's tag team division as they're trying to build it up. Because, don't get me wrong, the build has been fine since they won the titles at Elimination Chamber, and they've rode it right through till now, and they've been defending it down in NXT house shows and up here on Raw, and they've went over to SmackDown. They're covering all their brands, and they're doing what they said they were going to do. It's just going to be interesting if maybe they play into the fact that the Iconics were saying how they're too scared to show up on SmackDown, right? Maybe that becomes part of their character, how they say they're going to defend it across all the brands, but not show up. And that's how you're going to get people pissed off at them.
And honestly, it could be essentially lead to a double turn in the aspect that if they turn heel, Iconics are so popular. Amongst,
they're iconic.
So they're so popular, with us, with fans and the universe and everything, and they're very fun and people enjoy them. And certain things that they say in their promos, especially in this case, are very you're not coming. It's essentially what people say about Brock Lesnar. You're not coming here. Where are you?
Yep.
You said you were going to defend it. Where are you? So it could lead to Iconics being the face team in that feud.
Babyface Iconics would be awesome. I know that they play the really good annoying white girls, right? That's their character. They're just annoying white girls. We all know them. But as baby faces, they could probably get some pretty good sympathy. I think Peyton Royce is a star in the making. She has absolutely everything checked off that she possibly could. She's a star in the making, and as a baby face, I think she would have a really good run in her. Billie Kay a little less so. I think Billie Kay is more naturally suited to play a heel. But Peyton Royce, she's got a little bit of that baby face fire in her, and
that Ty Dillinger in her.
Yes. I see what you're doing. All right, let's go on to the forward promo that took over the world of wrestling. It was Batista coming down to the ring saying, "Hunter, kiss my ass." That's it. I'm hyped. I'm ready.
I loved it.
Yep.
I love that we continue to play that line of, yeah, we can swear now, and we're getting back into that little bit more attitude. And I think they're realizing a lot of the fan base from the PG era
has grown up.
Exactly. And now it's we're still fans, or we're re-becoming fans, and it's okay. We can get a little more down and dirty, right? We can do some nastier stuff. We can say some nastier stuff, and our fans are okay with it.
Let's put it this way. I mean, I don't know when you started watching wrestling, but I started in 2005, right? And so that means literally when I started actually watching wrestling, a few years in or whatever, and actually starting to watch the matches, that means the entire time I've been literally a fan has basically been the PG era. And you got to think there is so many other fans out there in the same age group who grew up, right? You and me, we don't want to see corny stuff on TV anymore. We don't want to see the dumb jokes. We want to see good wrestling. We want to see some oomph to their characters. We want to see a little bit of edge, right? That's what we want to see. And that's because we grew up out of the PG era. The John Cena character was fine. The Fruity Bowl of Pebbles was fine for a while. But we're into a different era now where the kids have grown up. This is another attitude era coming up, right? Like kind of that same feel. You had the 80s where it was all cartoony and everything, but those people grew up, and through the 90s, they wanted attitude. They wanted raw emotion.
Eat your vitamins and say your prayers, and then all of a sudden, kiss my ass and screw WCW, right? Like,
exactly. And I mean, with AEW coming along, just like WCW, we might be entering another world of professional wrestling, another era that is going to be looked back on as potentially some golden days, because we've got the best wrestlers there's ever been in the entire world right now. It's the most athletic people, the most dynamic wrestlers, some of the best characters ever. And if you can just put that together with some good TV, with raw emotion, almost like a real feel to it, you're gonna have great TV.
Yeah,
you really are.
The biggest thing for me was when I started. Like, I watched it as a kid, like the odd time my dad would have it on or something, and then didn't watch it again till like I was in elementary school, but in the early 2000s, probably like early to mid 2000s, so around that same time, 2005-ish. And then when I fell out of it and when I kind of stopped watching for a little bit, it was the most PG portion. It was that small period of a couple years where it was like, it's super PG.
Like John Cena at his height of PG corniness. Yeah. Yeah.
And like and even as a kid in elementary school going into high school in the late 2000s, it was very like mid to late 2000s. It was very like our most hated person, even at that age, was John Cena.
Yep.
Right. Because he's great for kids, young kids. And those types of characters are great for that. And then all of a sudden when you hit that like early teen age, you start getting that little bit of edge and that little bit of attitude, and you want to be more grown up and you want to feel more whatever. So now all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're telling me that this guy's the good guy and he's who I should be supporting. No, like I want to support Edge, right? As opposed to John Cena or Randy Orton being the legend killer, right? Stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you get older and you're like, I want to see that attitude though from both sides. I want the good guys to, because now that we're adultish,
trying.
It's like, adulting. It's like, man, like there's nothing wrong with being a good guy or a good girl, like being a good person. But at the same time, like I believe I'm a good person, but also I have a little bit of attitude. I have a little bit of edge.
Not
everyone's perfect, right? Yeah, exactly. Not everyone's perfect. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, hustle, loyalty, respect. Like we have that little bit of dickishness.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, when you look at just wrestling fans in general, the shit that we say to each other, how vile it is sometimes. Like, we are a group of fans who are sometimes not the most PG group, if you will. So why give us a PG product? Anyways, though, yes, we are slowly moving towards an era where I think, saying kiss my ass, son of a bitch, you are a bitch, corporate bitch, whatever. Those are going to be more common, and that's fine. Without having to push into an attitude era, we are getting a little bit more edge to our promos now, which is good.
Yeah. It's nice to see Batista and guys like that get to do this as well.
Yes.
Because a lot of their career was that PG era.
Agreed.
And he's killing it. He's killing it.
He's doing a great job. But now we kind of just, everything that went really good and everything we're talking about a new era and all this lovely stuff, we got Cruz versus Jinder Mahal, Apollo Crews versus Jinder Mahal in a lumberjack match. The Jobber Battle Royal. If anything, this just exposed how lackluster WWE has built their lower to mid card. They have done nothing. Did you see the people around on the outside of the ring?
Yeah.
Like, that was sad.
What sucks too is EC3. I noticed him in the ring there, and like no attention to him. And I'm like, poor guy, man. Like,
it's not hard to build up the bottom of your card. It's really not. You know, like, all you got to do is give them a promo backstage, go out there and get a win. You know, give them a character. It doesn't even matter if all those people that are around the Battle Royal, they're your jobbers, right? Because you have to have jobbers. You got to have people to put over other superstars, right? You got to have them. But, you know, give them a character. We just saw Tyler Breeze got a new haircut, right? Like that. He's got a dope haircut now. And it's like, okay, give us an interview on Twitter with him, you know, push him a little bit more. Give us a backstage interview with Tyler Breeze. Tell us why he got the haircut. You know, maybe show off the fact that he's got a haircut. That little attention to detail all of a sudden says next week when he goes out there in the ring for a match, hey, maybe this guy is going to get an opportunity to show his stuff. Great. You know, we're going to pay a little more attention to him. That's just with every single character that was out there around the Battle Royal. So little attention has been given to their characters that now they're just like, oh, we are jobbers, and there is no saving us from here. Absolutely no saving us. Like, it would take a pretty big heel turn or a pretty big face turn or a pretty big push online for somebody to get outside of this little Battle Royal that we have. Like, Apollo Crews was spotlighted, and him and Braun Strowman look like the only two people who might win this Battle Royal.
Yeah, literally, that's the only two that they're kind of focusing on right now, and I honestly think what they need to start doing is utilizing, like they do in with the NXT and NXT UK, how they kind of have some crossover moments at times.
Yes.
Where certain teams can go challenge for the UK title from NXT, and certain teams can go challenge for the UK, or certain individuals can go challenge for the UK title, and things like that, and vice versa. I think that they need to start utilizing NXT better, where certain people that are a little stale or have nothing really going on, but you know have that promise, keep them relevant. Like Tyler Breeze, he goes and wrestles at NXT house shows all the time.
Yep.
Right? Like I see it on, and he gets such a crowd reaction at house shows because people love him.
He's a fan favorite.
Love him.
Like you want to cheer the guy on. He's Prince Pretty.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Exactly. Like, he should be able to go down and maybe get involved in a North American title rivalry or a UK title rivalry or something like that, where like, hey, we have these guys, EC3 as well. Like, don't be afraid just because you just brought him up. Put him back down. Bring him back into something down below, into a title thing where keep them relevant, right? Like,
yeah. Or hell, it is not a bad thing that if you want to promote crossovers by literally saying that, hey, this upcoming Wednesday, EC3 from Monday Night Raw will be on NXT. Don't miss it. Big chance here, big match as he takes on the NXT champion. Okay, I'm tuning in. Yeah, man. Like, it's not hard to mention it. It's not hard to put a little graphic at the bottom of the screen. And then as a result, people from the main roster are going to tune into NXT. They're going to tune into NXT UK. They're going to tune into 205 Live, whatever it may be. And they're going to watch those main roster superstars, see how talented they are, what got them to WWE in the first place, and say, hey, maybe this guy needs a push on the main roster.
Exactly.
It's simple.
Get people behind them, and do it with those shows, not your main event or whatever it is, right? Like,
yep, exactly. Keep people off main event. I don't know why that's even a show. They never promote it. They never mention that it's around. It's literally
I think
there.
it's one match. It's a one-match show, I think.
Why is
and
it?
It's like
I get it's there to be the dark matches essentially for the crowd live, but have a freaking dark match. Don't make it main event. Like,
yeah, like the purpose of a dark match is it's dark. Nobody knows about it.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
Except for the people there.
It's literally what's it called? Non-canon. That's what main event is. It's the non-canon version. It's like the weird Star Wars books that are written by fans out there. That's main event. It doesn't freaking matter.
It's like recording a house show and then just calling it Heat or Velocity.
And it's like calling it Roadblock.
Yeah, you're like, that's not a house show then. You're still just recording it. I don't understand. I don't know.
Just
weird. This match was I don't know. It's so classic WWE though, the the classic, like, oh, we have a battle royal coming up.
Just throw everybody in there.
Let's just have everybody around so that it breaks down, and then everybody's throwing everyone out.
This wasn't even the first and only time they did it this week. They did a bigger match on freaking SmackDown Live that was even lazier. Like,
I know. It was so... I hated that they did those two things.
Like, they're fine matches when you want to build up a nothing battle royal on Raw. Say next week, hey, we're having a #1 contenders battle royal on Raw. All these superstars around this ring are going to be in it. And it's a one-on-one match between Apollo Crews and Jinder Mahal to build up for next week. Great. Not on the go-home show before WrestleMania. That's not the way that you build to that battle royal at Mania. You can do more stuff with it.
I will say about this match, last thing, because I don't want to talk about... We're not talking about this match the entire time. I do want to say, though, they did a good job with little things in the match where, like, Titus and Apollo were two of the last people left in the ring, right? True. Apollo and Jinder were two of the last people left in, like, stuff like that, where they kind of built up Titus, and they were talking about Titus a lot. Commentary team, which you probably didn't hear, but I
heard a little bit
yeah, they were talking a lot about him. So I think this, like, they don't forget always. Sometimes they just forget and they're like, that was in the past. We don't have any recollection of that. But in this situation, it's like, oh yeah, Titus and Apollo were a thing a year ago, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Less than a year ago. So
at least they continued that.
They have that little bit of possible thing, and I'm fully expecting it at Mania. Some sort of interaction between the two of them.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's go on to the tag team title match. That was the Revival versus Black and Ricochet. So, lots to talk about with this match. I don't really know what's going on for WrestleMania with the Revival. I'm not even sure if they're going to be on the card, to be quite honest.
I saw something on social media that they're going to be on the pre-show against the Major Brothers.
Okay. They're totally giving the win to Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder at Mania, aren't they? In their hometown. Holy frig, that's what they're doing.
Are they from New York?
Zack Ryder's Long Island.
Ryder.
Yeah.
Long Island guy, yeah.
They're totally going to put the titles on them, and that's... Okay, that'll be fine with Kurt Hawkins getting his win at WrestleMania and ending his defeated streak. That'll be a good pop. But again, then we're going to go back to the teams that have beat the freaking Revival. Let's go back even further. Here we go. You ready? Let's go B team. Yeah. How about the B team? They beat them. How about the Lucha House Party? Yeah, they beat them. Right? They beat the Revival. They've lost to Aleister Black and Ricochet. They've lost to Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. Did they lose to Authors of Pain?
Believe so.
All right, let's throw Authors of Pain in there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's 5 teams I just named right now. 4 for sure they've lost to. What? These are your tag team champions where, again, on Monday Night Raw, they were saying that they're the best tag team in the world. Again. But they finally pick up a win on Monday Night Raw over Aleister Black and Ricochet. It was sketchy by holding his leg, not allowing him back inside the ring. At least that showed that the Revival is somewhat smart and they're not as dumb as they've been portrayed, right? So that's good, at least, that they showed a little bit of smarts. It would make sense if this was the setup match to WrestleMania of Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Revival. That would make a lot of sense, but they didn't do that. So now I wonder what the whole point of this is even to begin with.
Yeah. I just feel bad for the Revival. This match itself, the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet, very promising match.
Yeah. Yeah, God, yeah.
I was watching it. I love seeing those guys in the ring together. I hated that it was a count out, but also I get it. They're trying not to let Aleister Black and Ricochet really lose. They're hot right now, so I get it. But
yeah, like they're competing for all 3 tag team titles within the span of a week, right?
Yeah. So that's cool, but it is what it is. I just feel bad for Revival, and I fully expect Ryder and Hawkins, if that match is happening. Again, I'm not sure. I just saw something on social about it. if that match is happening, I fully expect them to win. Unfortunate for the Revival, great for Hawkins and Ryder.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to put down guys like that because
they've worked hard to get there.
They've worked hard. They have the opportunity to build up. Fully, you and I know, if it weren't the Revival and if it weren't for how the Revival has been treated, you and I would be 100% behind Hawkins and Ryder.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, if they built up the Revival and gave them solid wins since they won the tag team championships and gave them wins before that and built them up the right way, this would have been a solid enough tag team run. A short one, but a solid enough to get it on to the next people. And people like Ryder and Hawkins do deserve some sort of WrestleMania moment. We saw it a couple of years ago with Zach getting the IC title. He lost it the next night on Raw. If you don't want to run with it, you can obviously move the tag titles off to somebody else or whatever it may be. But it's going to create a cool moment if they do give it to Hawkins and Ryder. And I would, once again, would be totally behind it if they built up the Revival in the right way to lose the titles. But they just have not done that. So, I don't know. It says a lot that the Revival are going to go back on the pre-show at WrestleMania to see where WWE sees them. And also to quickly address a rumor that I heard out there that after WrestleMania, Vince McMahon is potentially considering splitting the Revival. So that goes to show right there what he thinks of the Revival. I think they're on their way out, man. I think they're on their way out. Probably have a certain other 3-letter promotion in their mind as a tag
TNA.
team. Yeah, TNA, exactly. Yeah.
ROH.
Oh, also speaking of TNA, did you hear that, what was it, Rob Van Dam, I believe? He signed a contract to TNA today?
I just saw something. I just saw a poster with like a bunch of random things. Like I saw an RVD on it. I saw something else that was like an older superstar. Yeah, it was that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll be
RVD,
good over there.
Everybody loves RVD. Right. I was gonna say, just last thing, I like how Aleister Black and Ricochet attacked the Revival after the match.
Yes, me too.
But I also laugh how like hypocritical fans are, because we are as a wrestling universe, as WWE would say, because when Seth Rollins low-blowed Brock Lesnar, we cheered. And we were like, yes, good job. Way to hit that guy in the dick. And then when Aleister Black and Ricochet attacked Revival after the match and like beat down on them, we were like, good job. You guys, that was deserving. But if it was the other way around, if Brock Lesnar even just like attacked Seth Rollins, didn't even low blow him, if he just like suplexed him 10 times, we'd be like, oh, Brock Lesnar's a dick. If Revival hit them, we're like, screw those guys, they're dicks. I'm like,
it's true. I mean, Daniel Bryan says it best. Wrestling fans are fickle as hell.
Yeah, fickle as hell.
We really are. Okay, so let's go on to what is the moment everybody is talking about. One of the greatest things that has happened to the wrestling world in a long time. Ronda Rousey.
Roman Reigns?
Yeah,
Roman Reigns. I thought you were talking about Roman Reigns getting attacked by Drew.
Oh, no.
Never mind.
No.
that was very
good.
Small.
Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair facing off against the Riot Squad. That wasn't really the story, though. The story is obviously what happened after that. Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. There was a little thing that was going on. If they hit each other during the match, they would be taken out of the WrestleMania match. So obviously, lots of high stakes in this match. Nobody laid a hand on each other until the very end, where Ronda Rousey tagged herself in and made Liv Morgan tap out basically immediately. Very good match for how short it was, but the story afterwards, if you want to take it away, go right ahead.
Yeah, they just ended up, like you said, she tapped Liv very quick and then got up and immediately attacked Charlotte. Becky came in, the three started brawling around the ring. Security came out, broke them up. Police came out, broke them up, handcuffed all three of them. They continued to fight. They continued to tear up the entire venue, essentially, continued to fight into the backstage area, fight off security and cops and yada, yada, yada. And then they ended up getting thrown in cars, to get taken to jail, where they then were physically breaking glass to get out of cars. The most memorable moment from this entire thing for me, though, was when Ronda went to get out of the broken window.
Okay.
And Charlotte just threw that knee up and hit her. I was like, ooh.
What
that
knee.
actually looked aggressive.
Oh, she connected. She connected big time. I'm not sure if you saw the still frames on Twitter or anything, but you can literally see Ronda's face slowly caving in from the knee hitting. Yeah. It was really good. My favorite
thing that I love about Ronda was that.
My favorite moment from that whole segment was when the one police officer went to take Becky Lynch out of the car and drags her over to the other cop car, and then she just opens the door, completely forgetting that Charlotte is in the cop car, and out comes Charlotte and starts beating away on Becky Lynch. And like, these were the most incompetent police officers I have ever seen.
Oh my god, those uniforms looked so funny, man. Like, they looked like they were dollar store uniforms, like Halloween costumes.
To me, man, honestly, this goes right up there with like the beer truck segment, the milk truck segment, for just how ridiculous it is, how over the top it is. But that's what makes wrestling fun. And that's why we love it, because it is ridiculous. It is over the top. And WWE shows that when they dig into that ridiculousness that is WWE, it creates some of the most memorable moments. I mean, there's no way in hell that should have been a good segment, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I also the one thing I will say I hated, not about this segment, but about something that led into this segment, was Ronda's stupid interview earlier in the night where she's just like shadow boxing, like punching the air.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I was like, she looks stupid while doing that. I was like, either stop, look at whoever it was, Charlie, I think, and just like say it stern and then like continue or walk away. Or what they really could have done is like play into the Travis Brown, if he's there, if he was available, right? Or anyone, right?
Yep.
Either get like a punching bag or like have Travis Brown have like the punch, like the hands, the block hands.
Yeah.
And just have her punching them.
Yeah, that should have been a little addition to the story considering what happened last week, right?
Exactly. Like something like that would have been.
Was that last week?
Nicer.
Yeah, Travis Brown was last week, right?
Last week, yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have been way more threatening feeling as well. Like she just kind of looked goofy, like punching the air because she was doing it almost too quick. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it just didn't. It didn't.
I agree.
Go
it should have been on. Saying. It should have been on some sort of punching bag, probably. But like, yeah.
But
nitpicking,
that was
right?
Nitpicking thing. But the segment itself, the overall brawl of the police, and I love Michael Cole being like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. I'm like,
meanwhile, just a few weeks ago, we saw Becky Lynch get arrested. Like, come on, Michael. You've been in the WWE for 20 years.
Forever.
Like, frick.
Yeah. I'm like, Michael's been part of the company for 2 decades. And he's like, I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. You've seen it.
It's like, yes, you've seen this. You probably helped write it. Like, come on.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure that you were around about when Triple H had his feud with Kane and did that stupid Katie Vick stuff. I'm like,
come on.
That's like the worst thing that WWE's ever done. Hands down, the worst thing that WWE's ever done. And here's Michael Cole, like, these 3 brawling and getting arrested.
My God, I've never seen anything like this.
I've never seen it. I'm like, shut up. You gotta be kidding me.
And man, the classic Michael Cole. What the hell? What the hell? Like, come on, Michael.
But the segment itself, loved it.
Yep, it was awesome.
I know. I had seen. Shit, just dropped my pen. Had seen you had tweeted something about the placement of it.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say I completely agree with your backing. Like, I'm backing you on the aspect of it's risky, right? You close a show on a segment that big.
Yeah.
It's risky that if you're running too late on time, you don't get to either view it all or to like do it all,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
or you rush it and it doesn't come across the way you want.
exactly.
Yeah.
So middle of the card, little weird.
Very weird. Yeah.
But
so like just kind
I
of
wouldn't have minded it to open. To open would have been huge.
That would have been cool. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a cool opening segment. The middle of the card, I understand why they do it, because normally that 10 o'clock hour is reserved for their biggest segments. They normally do that. But the ending of the show is normally saved for segments that leave like a little bit of a cliffhanger, right? And that's why I thought that it would have been really good to end the show with Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, because going into WrestleMania, all them being dragged off by cop cars, my God, is the match even happening anymore? Like, all that stuff, right? That would have been the way to close off Raw or open it for sure. The 10 o'clock mark is obviously a big deal because that slot is normally reserved for Triple H, Undertaker, Batista, John Cena, yada, yada, yada. It's the legend slot, and they got given it. So that's cool to see. And again, to address like the tweet, obviously, you know, if you do put the segment there, you don't risk rushing it. You don't risk going long. You don't risk going too short. You don't risk like a commercial break being in the middle of it.
But you can take as much time as you need.
Exactly. So I understand their placement of it there. I just, as a wrestling fan, I would have liked to see the go-home shot be of Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte being driven away in police officers. That would have been a cool go-home shot.
Also love foreshadowing. I love that Becky got dropped off on SmackDown in a cop car.
Yes.
And like said bye to the cop as if she was now friends with the cop.
Right.
I was like such a classic. Such a classic move, man. I loved it.
Oh, man.
And also the fact that she got out of the back seat on her own. Cop cars don't do that.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of that.
Like, you can't.
I didn't put two and two together there. You're so right. She just strolled out of the back of a police cop car. Like, frig. Also, one little thing that I'm going to say for nitpicking wise, Charlotte tweeting after she got quote unquote arrested, like 15 minutes after, probably not the best call on her end for maintaining kayfabe, but we all know that it's not true anyway. So anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a little thing there. All right, let's move on to the tag team match. That was Heavy Machinery versus Gable and Rude. By God, how far have Gable and Rude fallen down the card? Just as you and me were saying, they're starting to look like a tag team, starting to feel like a tag team, starting to operate as a tag team. They do this. They give them this. They push them down the card. Unneeded match, but
yeah, it was so unnecessary. It's weird because these are behind Revival and Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Yeah.
These are your next two potential threats, I guess, right now. At least while AOP's out.
Yep.
And AOP spelled
AOPP.
Capital P, lowercase e. But yeah, while they're out, like Heavy Machinery and Rude and Gable are your next threats, right? So it's just weird that they were even on the card there. They didn't need to be. They could have done anything else. It was unnecessary. There's no point to it going into Mania. I don't know. It was just a weird. And like you said, it sucks because Rude and Gable, I think at the time of their run, or at least for the majority of their run, we were taking advantage of what we actually had. Right?
Yeah.
We were like, oh, this is dumb. And now looking back on it, we're like, oh, you know what? They were actually all right. And now all of a sudden you just see them flutter and drop.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks because it's one of those things as wrestling fans, we didn't realize what we had. Like you said, we didn't realize what we had in Gable and Rude. So it kind of sucks to see them fall down the card a little bit. I think we completely skipped over the Kurt Angle segment, did we? Like the Kurt Angle video package? We totally did. Yeah, so really the video package was...
We don't need to talk about it.
I'll just briefly mention it. I love the Kurt Angle video package, though. Kudos to WWE, because that was a great video package. So thank you, Kurt, for all your years in the WWE. This is unfortunately the last time on Monday Night Raw where we're supposedly going to see him in in-ring competition. So, and we didn't even get to see it.
Thing,
yeah.
The weird thing is, I thought that it was supposed to be Kurt versus Ray.
That was what was originally announced. It was supposed to be
That's
Kurt
what they were
versus
announcing
Ray.
last week. They were talking about it, right?
Yeah. And then it didn't happen.
Joe on Monday last week, and then he fought AJ on Tuesday, and then it was supposed to be Kurt versus Ray on Monday this week. And I'm wondering if maybe Kurt just needed some extra rest.
Maybe. I do know that, like, Kurt Angle, he wanted to wrestle Rey Mysterio. That's why, obviously, he was in his farewell tour. I just wonder if there was some for all you know, there could have been, like, some sort of backstage politics with Kurt Angle. Maybe this was leading up to his match versus John Cena, and it fell through, and they're like, okay, we need to find a way to get some heat on Baron Corbin. Right? Or maybe they ended up changing their mind. Maybe the original plan wasn't to get Baron Corbin against Kurt Angle, and it was just a way to put heat on the story until somebody took him out at Mania. And that could still happen, right? That could still very well happen. It's just this might have been their way of saying, okay, we need some heat on Baron Corbin. Let's put Rey Mysterio against him.
Yeah. As for the package, anytime they do something like that, WWE does such a good job of putting together their like kind of like Hall of Fame packages, or their like rest in peace like tribute packages, or their like tribute like honor packages of like, hey, congratulations on your career. And honestly, I don't think there's a single superstar that I could see that watching it I wouldn't get emotional. It doesn't matter if they're Kurt Angle, who's one of the biggest, or a Scotty 2 Hottie. They do such a good job that it's like, damn, like you really, especially in a lengthy career like that, you start to see a lot of moments that you remember or that you know of, but are somewhere in your mind in the back and you don't think of every time you see that person. Now, all of a sudden you're seeing them and you're like, again, you're just feeling like, man, as much as we respected his career and as much as we loved him and really accepted what we got with him as it was happening, at the same time, part of me is still like, I feel like I could have supported more. Like, I still feel like I could have been more of a fan somehow, right? Like, it's too late for me now.
Well, it's never too late to go back and watch the stuff on the WWE Network. It's never go back to relive the career that was Kurt Angle. Exactly, like
for only $9.99 a month.
and just like to anybody out there listening, there is a really cool thing that they do. They put together all these like packages from superstars, and they put together like a collection. It's WWE Collections. That's literally what it's called. And I'm sure they've got a Kurt Angle one out there where they compile all of his best matches, all of his best stories, and his biggest feuds and all that. They're really, really cool to watch. So if any of you guys are thinking like Bob right there, like, it's too late for me. You know, I wish I could have been more. Go back and watch those stuff. See how damn good Kurt Angle really was, because he was that damn good. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
It's damn true. And just seeing how emotional he got too was great. And I loved from a story standpoint, because this feeds into later and then and my other important stuff. Baron Corbin is such a heel and does such a great job at it. Again, like, we need to respect heel as well. Like, we can hate the person, but respect how good they are at making us hate them. Because the fact that like this super sad package just plays, Kurt's just about to start talking, and then Baron comes out. He's not the same guy from those videos. He struggles to get his jacket off. Like, and then he's just a dick, and then you want to have an exhibition right now? Okay, runs up, gets up to the apron, and then no, it's down. So it's he did a great job in this segment, led to the Baron Corbin versus Rey Mysterio match that closed the night. But before that match, we had a couple other things.
We did. We had Braun take on a couple of jobbers. So we just went back 2 years ago to when Braun was destroying jobbers. This is not needed. Doesn't hype up the match at WrestleMania whatsoever, other than the fact that there's celebrity involvement. And that's literally all we really need to say about that.
That's it.
Yep. All right. Also, the Demon will return. So there's that as well. So that I'm just going to quickly mention this in the storyline. Like, as much as you and me have said that we're done seeing the storyline, we're done seeing it, the inclusion of the Demon at WrestleMania at least gives this match a little something different that we haven't seen before. I hate the fact that he didn't bring the freaking demon out for Brock freaking Lesnar at Royal Rumble, and now he's going to bring it out for Bobby Lashley. But still, Bobby Lashley is in kayfabe, a very tough opponent, right? He's built, he's jacked, he's a scary man, and Finn Balor doesn't have a chance in hell in real life against Bobby Lashley. So it makes sense that he would bring the demon out for this match. And considering he's lost to him in one-on-one competition before, even if it was courtesy of Lio Rush, he knows that Bobby Lashley has his number. Makes sense for him to bring the demon out in this case.
Yeah, and also just a memorable WrestleMania moment.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's all it is.
The demon, so.
Yep, great. And Finn Balor should win if he's going to be the demon at WrestleMania. And then WWE, listen, we don't want this feud anymore. Enough. All right? That's it. Then we're going to close out the show with Corbin versus Mysterio, as we just mentioned. Again, Corbin's heel work is very good. His moveset is very good. I love the fact that he won off of the Deep Six as opposed to End of Days.
I love that they do that with him.
Yep, I think that was fine. The match itself was nothing to write home about, and that kind of sucks hearing from Rey Mysterio that he kind of stumbled a lot in that match, and I think there's rumors that he hurt his ankle during the match.
Yeah, like that's how they were selling it in the match. So I liked that they finished the match.
Yeah.
Like he hurt his ankle and then they went on for another 5 or so minutes. So I really liked that. I thought the match was good. I think Ray is great, obviously. Hope he's okay.
Hopefully he can make it to Mania, because at this point, we don't know what that means for WrestleMania and Rey Mysterio, because on SmackDown Live, they were still advertising the match at Mania, but...
Yeah, but if he can't go, Ali might need to substitute.
Especially considering he just had the match against Samoa Joe there on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Somehow, but he lost so clean at the same time.
But he didn't tap either,
he didn't tap,
which
no.
is... Right? But regardless, hopefully Ray's okay. Ray does a great job anytime he's in that ring. Baron does a great job as much as we hate him when he's in the ring, with his character work, with his like dickishness, the fact that like he kind of Ray's potentially hurt the rest trying to check on him, and Baron's like, I don't care. What does that matter to me?
He's a dick.
Right?
He
and
wants to win.
He does a great job. Yep. I love that he got the win too, because a guy like Rey Mysterio doesn't need to beat Baron Corbin.
I agree.
Right?
Yep. The only thing I wish I would have seen with this match, and I mean, again, we don't know if the match is going to still happen at WrestleMania, but as of this match starting, the match was set for Mania. I would have liked to see them not make Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe feel like an afterthought as much as it has. Promote that a little more, right? Promote the fact that Rey Mysterio this upcoming Sunday has a U.S. title match, and this match against Baron Corbin is to warm him up. He needs to get ready for Samoa Joe. He's facing a big bad man, and if he can't beat Baron Corbin, how does he stand a chance in hell of beating Samoa Joe, right? That's the story that they told us without telling us that, and I wish they would have focused a little bit more on the fact that Rey Mysterio wasn't going to be an afterthought for the United States title. You could have maybe had... Did they hit an angle slam on Baron Corbin? Did that happen?
No, I don't think so.
So then there's absolutely no reason why the ending of the show then... Yeah, because they didn't, because Corbin won clean, right? And then that's how the show ended.
Corbin won clean, and then as he was walking out, Kurt attacked him.
So Kurt, yes, right. Put him on the ankle lock. Okay,
yeah. Not the angle slam though, but he did hit the ankle
lock. So I mean,
and he was tapping, and
the right way that you ended Monday Night Raw is obviously with Kurt Angle standing over top of Baron Corbin. Again, goes back to how they booked the show. That could lead to Baron Corbin winning at Mania. But anyways, they could have probably got their way out of the match with some sort of disqualification win with Kurt Angle coming down, and maybe while Rey Mysterio was selling that injury on the ground, Baron Corbin starts trying to attack him while he's down on the ground, and Kurt Angle comes out, makes the save, hits the angle slam on like the ground or whatever, and locks him in the ankle lock. Or even you could have had Kurt Angle drag him all the way up like the ramp to the top where you had him lock in the ankle lock and still lock it in there. You could drag him all the way up, right? That'd be a pretty cool little moment.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't mind, too, the aspect of potential shakeup down the road. having Ray and Baron on the same roster. That's a rivalry that I wouldn't mind to see because it's big versus small, which is always great.
Easy to sell.
Yeah, and Ray is like super honorable, super babyface. Baron is super dickish, super dishonorable, super heel. And Ray will not put on bad matches.
No, he won't.
And with Baron's moveset, and honestly, as good as he is in the ring, he is good in the ring.
People don't give him enough credit for that. They really don't.
They would have a nice little rivalry. I don't want to see it dragged out like WWE does. I don't want to see it be too big or too much, but they would have a nice little rivalry as a transitional rivalry for each guys.
A 1 month rivalry from the Raw after a pay-per-view to the next pay-per-view. That's all those guys need. That's all they need.
Like a September, what's the September pay-per-view? No Way Out or whatever it is?
Oh, don't ask me, man. I couldn't tell you.
Like a No Way, but that type of pay-per-view match, a No Way Out pay-per-view match.
Mm-hmm. That would work. And I mean, you could build it towards a like the October pay-per-view if you wanted to. If you wanted to put it a month later, build it towards a Hell in a Cell match. You could do the Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy match. You could make that Baron Corbin, Rey Mysterio inside Hell in a Cell. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Baron in a Hell in a Cell would be a great match, I think.
It would be, I think. That would be cool to see him in. One day. All right, let's get on over to SmackDown Live. So this show was better than Raw, in my opinion. I think Raw had the one segment that really saved it. I think SmackDown Live was overall a better show. So let's talk about this. Starting off with the Kevin Owens show featuring AJ Styles and Randy Orton. Again, this feud continues to show that less is more, that it does not take a lot to sell a feud if you have two superstars who are legitimately some of the best in the world. AJ Styles and Randy Orton, this match could potentially steal the show at Mania, and they just took their feud to the next level. Randy Orton getting called out on his on failing the drug test way back in the day when AJ Styles was still on the indie scene, and AJ Styles getting called a corporate bitch. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved this segment. I loved the set of the KO show.
Great.
I love KO. I love that as he's introducing them. I don't know if you noticed
the card flip.
But he had the cue cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. How he's like, my first guest, the Viper.
Flips it. Randy Orton. Like, oh my God. We don't deserve Kevin Owens.
What's better is that he didn't sell it. Like, he did it so nonchalant that only people like you or I that would really notice it or care to notice it. Like, it was for the people that just notice those little things.
It was for the diehards. That's what it was.
Yeah, where we just see those little things and we're like, oh my God, you're such an... Like, it's so goofy. Like, it's like something that you would do because you'd be like he would say to Sammy, like, hey man, watch on Tuesday. Like, I'm going to do the stupidest little thing on my segment.
Yeah.
You'll know when you see it. And then he sees it, and I just picture, like, Sammy at home laughing.
Just Sammy
like,
saying,
what an idiot.
Lose. And he's like, oh, you did
like,
it.
Such an idiot. But, like, it's the smallest little thing that's so goofy and so dumb, but it's so... funny.
We've said this.
We don't deserve KO. He's great.
We've said this many times about Kevin Owens, that he is the master of the little things. He does the little things better than I think anybody in the WWE. Just his delivery of his lines, the way that he carries himself in the ring, his facial expressions, everything about Kevin Owens makes him the most valuable player in WWE. You can put him in any segment, and he's going to kill it. That was proof right there. He's got a talk show now. That's a thing that's going to keep rolling too. They've got a cool set for the talk show now. Like, this is good for Kevin Owens.
You know what I think it is with him too? It's the authenticity that he brings to whatever character he is, where like it's the trueness of that person and the realness, right? Like where even the way that he stumbles over his lines and that he says things multiple times and I can't do whatever, that little thing. The way that he does the little things like that are so, because it's real, right? Yes. It doesn't feel scripted. It doesn't feel fake. It feels like Kevin Owens. Like, it feels like the true person coming through, and he does an amazing job with it. So kudos to KO.
And I must say, I loved after that corporate bitch line how he just stood up and left. He just knew that it was going to go down, just straight up, just right up, and here he goes. He's out of here. Bye.
Yep. He's so good, man.
Gone.
And then, the like back and forth between Orton and Styles is great. Orton was left standing tall. Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, hit with the RKO. Obviously, a great like reversal, easy for the RKO, right?
And also, the fact that we got that on SmackDown Live means that we're probably not getting that spot during the match. So we got the spot.
We might get a spot
similar,
like where Randy goes for it, and then maybe AJ like catches him in the air and like pushes him off type thing.
I could see Randy Orton, like AJ Styles lining up the phenomenal forearm again, going up on the top of the springboard, ready to deliver it and holding. Like, you know how he sometimes stays up there on the very top of the rope as Randy Orton does his RKO thing, and then turns around and realizes AJ Styles is still just standing there bouncing on the top rope or something. That would be a cool moment.
There's a way. I'm trying to think of a way that he can reverse. He can go for the phenomenal forearm. Randy goes for the RKO, but he lands, like AJ lands it, catches his arm, maybe like twists and picks him up into a Styles Clash.
I don't know if the transition would be easy to do there.
It would be very difficult, but I mean, if there's going to be two guys that can do it.
You could transition, I think, that into the calf crusher.
Ooh, that would be nice.
You could go for the phenomenal forearm jumping off of the rope. Randy Orton goes to deliver the RKO, and he could kind of roll through it somehow right into the calf crusher. That could work.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, yeah, those two guys, I'm excited for that match. You said earlier you think AJ is going to get the win, and I think he will.
I think so.
Think he will, but also WWE has been so known in the past that anytime they do WCW versus WWE guy,
it's
like
WWE that wins. Yeah.
Yeah, even if they're the heel, like
and also
like WWE versus TNA, gonna be WWE.
Also, part of me thinks that they could give Randy Orton the win here because his character is still all about going after the favorites of the WWE universe, and it's less been focused on now. He hasn't said it in a little bit, but that is his character, right?
Yeah.
So where my little hamster on the wheel is going here is Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston have a big history.
Ooh.
Right? And a Kofi Kingston win at WrestleMania, followed up by a feud, his first feud being with Randy Orton afterwards. That'd be really good. If they don't do any of the New Day stuff turning on each other, full circle. Yep. If they don't do any of the New Day stuff turning on each other or anything like that, full circle, his first feud should be Randy Orton getting the win over AJ Styles and then going after Kofi Kingston for the WWE title.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And also, too, we've talked about it before. AJ Styles is a type of guy and a type of like wrestler, like a Ric Flair almost, and certain guys like that. There's been these few in the past where it doesn't necessarily hurt them ever to lose.
Yes.
Like they can lose rivalries, they can lose matches, and they're never like hurt by it, you know?
It's because they're so damn good at what they do, right? It's the same with like Samoa Joe. When he loses, it doesn't matter because he's so damn good at promo work. He gets back over with the fans. That's honestly all you want from a wrestler, is for wins and losses to really not hurt you. That's what you want to drive to be. You want to always have, the fan support behind you no matter what. Teams lose, right? It happens. You lose big games. You still keep that fan support, though. Yep. And that's AJ Styles. That's Ric Flair. You're right. That's exactly who they are.
Yep. That's AJ Styles. That's Ric Flair. That's Ricochet.
Not there yet.
No,
almost
there. I was trying to lead you
to you're doing the little segues. Segue Bob over here. All right. Let's go to the match then. Usos, Black and Ricochet. Bar.
I guess I could have said Usos better. Usos
would have been better.
I think now.
Yeah. And Rusev and Nakamura. So this match went down. It was a solid match. The action was fine. Nothing special. Very cut and paste from just a formulaic match, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it was fine. The announcement comes afterwards, though, that we are going to get a Fatal 4-Way match for the Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. Obviously, Usos and Black and Ricochet beating the Bar and Nakamura and Rusev. But this is a misstep. This is a misstep right here by WWE. What the hell happened to your Hardy Boys versus Usos promo that you literally cut a few weeks ago? We're brothers like you. Hey, yo, but we ain't nothing, or they ain't nothing like us, or whatever their promo was. I forget how it went down. But that epic Uso promo ended with focus on the Hardy Boys. Why did every other team that was mentioned in that promo basically get in this match, but the Hardys didn't? And then on top of that, you add Aleister Black and Ricochet who really have been beating the Raw Tag Team Champions into the SmackDown Live Tag Team title picture. Sure, they've been competing there. But was that needed? Were they needed to be added into that match? Was that really, truly needed? No, it wasn't.
I just think like they could have had this exact same match, but then added in the Hardy Boys.
You could have a Fatal 5-Way. Yeah, like why not?
Yeah, Fatal 5-Way. Like they could literally do like a Fatal 5-Way ladder match.
So
for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
I'm right there
with
you.
Amazing.
I'm right there with you. Part of me still thinks that there might be some sort of announcement at WrestleMania. Matt Hardy's been posting a lot of 2 years ago to the day when they returned at WrestleMania with a shocker and all that. Part of me hopes that they're going to try.
They showed that promo on that little package on Raw, I think.
Yeah. So
during one of their Snickers things, they were like Snickers moments, and they showed that return in the.
So yeah, part of it makes me think that there might be the addition of the Hardys by Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, like, Alexa Bliss comes out at Mania. Oh, by the way, boys, I completely forgot to mention there's one more team in your match, and then points back and the Hardys music hits. I do know that the Hardys are set to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, so whether they pull double duty or whether they just straight up don't put them in that match or whatever it may be, I don't know, but it's a missed opportunity not including the Usos, or not including the Hardy Boys against the Usos, in my opinion.
Maybe they win the Battle Royal, and that as like a team, they're the first tag team to do it. You know how Revival last year was saying that? Yeah. And then that leads to them being added to the tag team.
Cool fantasy booking, but that's not going to happen. Not with Colin Jost and Michael Che in the ring. No.
I don't think so, but maybe like that would be a way that you could do it. I don't know. I think it's weird. I also think I just really want to see a ladder match that involves the Usos, Aleister Black and Ricochet, and the Hardy Boys. Because
and don't forget about also that would be an amazing ladder match because you have the high flying ability between those three teams, and then you have the hard hitting ability of the Bar, Rusev, and Nakamura. Yeah. Right, you got everything you need inside of a ladder match. You have the big brutes, you have the foreign heels, right? You have the athletic baby faces, and you have a tweener team. You have everything that you need to make a ladder match. Yeah. Honestly, that's what they need to do at WrestleMania. Hardy Boys added into that match to make it a Fatal 5-Way ladder match for the Tag Team Championships.
Do it up.
Do it. Let's get on to the Iconics. Yes. It was iconic. It was great. I liked it. Short and sweet, to the point, showed how charismatic they are, and made them a threat for the tag team titles. Did everything it needed to do. I liked it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about one of my favorite segments of the week as well. Miz versus Sanity.
My boy.
Before we get into anything, though, I just want to say, that sucks for Sanity. That really sucks.
I know.
It sucks for Sanity. Now that we're done with that, though.
One false count anywhere.
Now that we're done with that, let's talk about how damn good of a babyface the Miz is.
Sorry, I want to say it sucks for Sanity, but at least they're getting screen time.
At least they're getting screen time. I will give you that. Yes. And quite a bit of screen time.
And I don't mind that they're kind of, at this point, they feel they're, and it's only short-lived, but they're Shane McMahon's guns for hire.
You know what, man? It's at least something, right? Like you said, it gets them on TV. And I'm all for, how good Sanity was down in NXT. They were great. But you got to look at the talent that is in Sanity, and they're looking at it, okay, it's Eric Young, an older gentleman, right? He's not a young spring chicken anymore.
He's older, and he's great for what he does, and he's a great veteran, and he's good in the ring and everything, but he's older. You're never going to push
Exactly.
UI, right?
So then you've got like people like Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf who don't really have a character on the main roster yet. And so I see why they're slipping through the cracks, right? If Vince McMahon, as he has straight up admitted, he doesn't watch NXT. If he hasn't seen Sanity come up, he wouldn't know their character, right? Yeah. That's the hard truth. Vince McMahon wouldn't know their characters, so he looks at it and saying, all right, I've got myself a TNA boy here and two guys who I've never even heard of. They're going to be jobbers. There you go. That's how it went down. Quote me on it. All right.
The match itself,
the match was great.
You want to talk it?
Yeah, I'll give a quick little rundown here. So obviously The Miz was put in a 3-on-1 handicap match against Sanity. It started out as a normal match inside the ring, and Miz kept taking the fight to Sanity. They finally got a little bit of offense in on The Miz until Miz took over again. That is where Shane McMahon stepped in, saying that this is going to be a Falls Count Anywhere match, and that's where this match rose. It reached another level. They went to the outside of the ring. The thing that I loved here, though, was how Miz kept separating Sanity. He'd beat someone down way at the back, then move on to the next guy. He was staggering them all throughout the arena, and it worked out really well for him as a result, all the way to the outside of the arena, and where he finally won the match with that vicious trolley cart to the head of Eric Young. Crazy stuff there. Miz is over as hell as a babyface, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, I love, I mean, you all know Miz is my favorite. I love him. I loved the promo before the match. I loved his Kofi pause for effect.
Yeah.
And he's explaining he's breaking down a little bit of WrestleMania and what everyone's there for. And then he did a great job in the match, and he's such a baby face. And also I loved how they did a great job this week with the flow of the show, which we've already mentioned, but I loved how the match ended outside, like in the entrance ramp area outside where cars pull into and the trucks pull into. And the match ended 1, 2, 3. Miz wins, like you said, off that vicious trolley cart into the head type thing.
Shane waves goodbye. All of a sudden, Shane pulling out with the vehicle, waving
waves
goodbye.
Yep. Pulls out, and right as he pulls out, the next segment or like a foreshadowing of the next segment starts when Becky gets there, pulling up in a cop car, getting out of the cop car on her own without any assistance from outside, which isn't a thing, and like talking to the cop, like that. I loved the flow, how everything it's just everything just in and intertwining. They're doing a great job with it, and I really hope that it continues, because it doesn't feel as long, which sometimes Monday Night Raw especially suffers from.
Yep.
But it also feels cooler. Like, it's like, oh, that just now this, and like I get it. Certain people's attention spans aren't there, and it's too much at once. But at the same time, we live in a fast-paced society. Keep it fast-paced.
Well,
right?
and you also have to think, like, it just makes sense, right? Yeah. It straight up makes sense. There's one ring. There's one arena that all these superstars are in. There's bound to be crossovers. The thing that I'm really loving with WWE, what they're doing recently, is I've bitched and moaned about this for the past year, how terrible WWE's commercial placements are within the show. They break up matches too far often. They will come back from a commercial break, and it will be like 5 minutes of entrances and then go to another. What they did this week, especially, that I noticed, is they were having the first person who was coming down to the ring, their entrance music would hit. They would come out on the ramp. They would do whatever their pose is, whatever they normally do. Yeah, and then it says next, next, as we fade to commercial break. That is the perfect way to cut to commercial. And they did a great job with it this week. Like, I will give them that credit. The flow to the show, both on Raw and SmackDown, was very good this week.
Yeah.
All right, that takes us on over to the Becky Lynch promo as she came out of the cop car. No, non-assisted, by the way.
Just totally a thing.
Her promo was fine. It didn't add anything extra to the show other than the double champ line, really. But it showed how over Becky Lynch is with the crowd. I like the little thing of her saying, "I answer the people, not Corey Graves." That's why she was on the announce table. She was a little corny, but that's Becky Lynch's character. And not as intense as you would think she would be after the thing that just happened the previous night, right? Yeah. Not as mad about it. But that's also not Becky Lynch's character. This has been her drive to try to get Charlotte and Ronda Rousey off their game, to get so mad at each other where they feel overconfident, right? Because Becky said it finest. Ronda is most vulnerable when she's overconfident, playing into her MMA run as well, which I really liked.
Yeah, and Becky, that, like you said, Becky's character is not that. That's the best way to put it. This is not Becky's character. Her character right now is amazing, and it's so fun. Like, I love how she gets arrested the night before, and then she comes out and she's just laughing. She's just like chuckling,
saying like, this shirt aged well. Like,
she's just saying how like she's so. It's funny because she is so confident and she is such a mastermind in what she's doing, and she just has this feel like, listen, like I know the outcome. Yeah, I know how it's gonna go down, and I'm doing everything right now. And it's like, I don't care that who cares if I got arrested? I'm here right now, like laughing, right? Like even just the little thing of like getting out of the cop car, like chuckling and talking, saying thanks to the cop, like stuff like that. I'm like, that's the Becky's character. She's so loved by the fans. She's so like, you freaking weirdo.
You freaking weirdo. Kiss my foot, you freaking weirdo. Like,
yeah, she keeps like calling like Ronda the weirder one, Ronnie. Like
Ron. Like, yeah Ronnie.
It's so funny, and she's just laughing and chuckling. And
you know who she reminds me a lot of is babyface Triple H. Where he's always a little corny. She reminds me a lot of babyface Triple H.
But like, it's still like
I could still kick your ass.
H?
Yeah, I could still kick your ass, right?
It's still Triple H. You're still like, oh, this dude has done some nasty ass shit in the past. But at the same time, you're like, yeah, but he's so funny because he's so cheesy that it works. And certain people have it, certain people don't. But very much, she started this run as a Stone Cold.
Yes.
And I feel like she's transitioned into a babyface Triple H, which is still great. Also, like, I think she's showing off her chops, that she can do
charismatic as hell. Great. And she's, the thing is with Becky Lynch is she is such a role model to little children, little girls everywhere around the world, like especially little girls around the world. You see her fan base, they're diehard Becky fans. They relate to her. Like, that is just a good character to have in the WWE. We forget sometimes that these characters are role models to a lot of people out there. A lot of kids who don't give two craps about the booking, who don't care about the outcomes of the show. They just want to watch the show to see Becky Lynch and her do whatever she's going to do. They're going to be so happy when she wins. They're going to be so mad when she loses. And that's what wrestling at its core is supposed to do, right? She's great.
Becky Lynch is doing a great job. She's out here motivating all the little girls in the world to want to grow up to be the man.
Sure. It's 2019. Why not, right?
It's 2019, right? It's 2019. So,
moving on.
Speaking of women and men.
Yes, 2019. We basically had 2019 people in this match. No. It was the 18-person mixed tag match, the biggest match ever in the history of WWE. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. Did they?
I think they talked about that.
Biggest
they
tag match?
Like the biggest
or something,
mixed
tag or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminded me a lot of when it was John Cena and Randy Orton versus the entire Raw locker room. How they had like the one side filled, but then John Cena and Randy Orton's side was empty. As opposed to being empty, they had their people in their corner. Kind of felt like that. Again, though, this goes back to lazy booking, not giving people storylines the correct way, and just saying, all right, everybody go in there and do something. You get all one moment to shine ahead of WrestleMania. You're in a battle royal. I will say this much. They did this match far better than they did the...
this match was way better.
They far better than the Lumberjack match on Monday Night Raw, right? And at least it created some hype towards the battle royal. It wasn't all bad. Just a little lazy booking is all. Little lazy.
And they continue to move the envelope forward in the intergender wrestling aspect.
Yes, that was a big step, I think, actually. There.
Which I loved seeing the involvement of, like, the smallest things, of Naomi throwing someone over the rope to Asuka,
Nikki Cross attacking EC3 or whatever. Or Shelton Benjamin, I should say. Sorry.
Shelton Benjamin, where Asuka kicked, I can't even remember who in the head. And then Asuka throwing Jeff Hardy over at the end. They, like, hug, and they're like, yeah, we're the two baby faces. Psych, it's every person for themselves. But at the same time, that little moment I kind of chuckled at. I'm like, yeah, but you guys aren't in the same match.
Yeah. I would have preferred
the same match, but whatever.
If they wanted to make this less lazy and, you know, more, because, like, they did a lot of over the top stuff, right, in this match at the end to hype up for the Battle Royal, which is fine, you know. But if they really wanted to, why not make this an 8-person or 8 mixed match or whatever over the top Battle Royal ahead of WrestleMania?
That would have been cool.
That, like, you know, mixed match, and you could have had the same result of Asuka and Jeff Hardy, you know, being really happy at the end, and Asuka eliminating Jeff, you know, or, you know, you could have had, say, like, there's one men winner, one women's winner. They stand tall in the center of the ring. Everybody's cheering. Ah, yay! They're the final two. Yay! And Asuka then eliminates Jeff to get, like, you know, that fun moment. Yeah,
that would be the only moment. I don't know that WWE is there yet, but I definitely think that they're building toward it, which is great. And I love it.
I think I loved WrestleMania next year. Is it a stretch to say we're going to get an intergender match, do you think, next year at Mania? Like a straight up one-on-one intergender match, or is that not the time?
One-on-one, potentially. I think it would be more likely a mixed tag where they don't necessarily care about the tag aspect. But one-on-one, potentially. It depends on who.
You would need the right feud. You would really need the right
feud, and you would need the right two superstars.
Yep, agreed. All right, let's get on to
Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano.
You know what, man? That match would be fire.
Wedding ring on a pole match.
Wedding ring on. Oh, no, you didn't just do that. Oh, my God, man. All right, let's go to Ali, not Mustafa anymore, versus Samoa Joe.
What do you think of that?
I mean, it's crap. Give him two names. But anyways.
It's
just, it's so weird seeing just Ali. You know, why can't we call him Mustafa Ali anymore? But
it's weird because WWE continues to do it, but they did it with Apollo Crews, and then now he's back to Apollo Crews, right?
They did it with Andrade, but he's still Andrade now.
Yeah, but also we don't really care. Like, we were so set on just continuously calling him Almas, and now he's Andrade, and you and I have transitioned into, it's Andrade.
Yes.
So sometimes it works where we just don't care because the superstar's so good, and I think Ali has that ability where, like, we're not going to care in 3 weeks, but at the same time, it's just like, why? Like, what was the need of it, right? Like,
to me as a commentator, it bothers me the most. Because when I live commentate over the show, it's nice to have two names to work with. You know, it's nice to have Mustafa or Ali. It's nice to have, you know, Samoa or Joe. You know, it's nice to have multiple names to call them by because it's easier. So now, granted, as also a commentator, it's very easy to notice why they maybe changed it. As a commentator, Mustafa Ali, it blends together, right? Those two words. So if you're just a commentator trying to say it really quick, maybe Vince was like, I don't like the way that sounds on commentary. You know, maybe we'll drop it to Ali.
I liked his Instagram post, though, about the name Mustafa and the representation. And it's like, I guess it's for the people or something along those lines. Like, a person of the people.
Okay.
Something like that. And he's like, though it's just one name, I'm still for the people or something like that. So, like,
cool.
He's amazing, man. This dude is, if you don't follow him on any social, follow him, because he is a true babyface through and through. And I think he's game-changing. I think he's huge because of his talent level and because of how great he is as a babyface in a time where, as wrestling fans, a lot of times, all we've ever seen a person of color, especially a person of Middle Eastern descent, and that heel, right? Color be a heel, right? Or like when they are a face, they're like a
comedy role face,
comedy role, right? Like Jinder Mahal as like a 3MB, right? Like where it's like that's a comedy role. So I think Ali is game changing for this aspect.
And I'm going to give you every credit in the book right here, man. You've been calling this for a long time. Since his days back early in 205 Live, you've been calling it. I didn't see it happening, but god damn, am I ever happy I'm wrong. Because
I'm very high on this guy, man.
Yep, he's really, really good. And apparently he is in line for a big push after WrestleMania. So don't know what that means. Maybe United States Championship, maybe more.
Yeah.
All right.
He ended up losing the match, though, to Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
It was fine. It's two great competitors.
It made Joe look vicious ahead of his WrestleMania time, which is what was needed. After losing to Kurt Angle, he needed a win. That was fine. Yep. Let's get on to the contract signing.
Kept Ali straight. Kept Ali like strong too, because he lost relatively quick, but he didn't tap.
Yes. Right,
which is always good. And it also kept him strong because all that happened, how it led into it was missed the 054, right?
Yep. True.
So it's like Joe moved, he hit, and then as he's like taking that pain, Coquina clutch. But yeah, contract signing.
I loved Kofi. I loved Daniel. Daniel was great as well.
Daniel did a great job too.
Everything about this feud has been phenomenal from the start. This feud doesn't get to where it is without Daniel Bryan. Like, I don't think for a second anybody is forgetting about how good of a player in this feud Daniel Bryan has been. He has made the journey for Kofi Kingston something awesome. He has made SmackDown Live must-see again. You know, like, you have to watch SmackDown Live. That is where the best story in WWE, or arguably one of the best stories in WWE, is going on. Great stuff from Kofi Kingston. You felt the raw emotion. You felt the passion oozing out of him. The 11 years, the frustration. It all boiled out in that one moment. And that growl that he gave, right? Like when he was like, like that moment, you're like, holy crap, this dude's ready to go.
Yeah. My favorite line, I think, from this segment, from Kofi's standpoint, was how he touched on, I was there, like, I watched you 2 years, like, come in, and 2 years later, I love how he, like, emphasized 2 years, essentially saying, your movement happened in 2 years.
Yeah.
It took 2 years for you to get to the top, for you to be noticed in that aspect. But it was 11 goddamn years. Like,
you don't know what I've been through.
Oh my God. Like, don't act like we are the same. Because yes, we are the same in some ways, but it was 2 years for you, which is nothing.
It's been over a decade for Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm at my current job for 2 years, I'm still probably not getting a promotion. I'm maybe not able to, if a management job opens up, I'm likely not able to apply for that management job. If I'm at my job for 11 years, if I'm not a manager by then, I sure as hell better be when I apply that time.
Yes.
Because, and if someone who, after 11 years you're there, if someone who only came in 2 years later, and you feel you are just as good, if not better, than you, and they get a management position. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, you can understand it, right? You can completely understand where Kofi Kingston is coming from. But I think that is going to be basically everything covered. Anything you want to touch on that last contract signing?
No, I really liked how Big E and Xavier were there, and Rowan was there, but they didn't they weren't at all focal points. They were just there. They were just there. They didn't do really anything, which is great.
Two weird things with this segment. I'll say this. One why wasn't Vince McMahon the guy overseeing the contract signing? Why was it Michael Cole? And two, actually not really a weird thing, but I kind of loved it. Big E's dancing. When he was just dancing in the background. I think that was actually hilarious. Like you're saying, not really the focal point, but he found a way to get himself over as well during that segment. So same with
really
Xavier.
I also really liked, there was no, remind me if I'm wrong, there was no physical altercation.
There was not. Nope.
I loved that, man, because too many contract signings end with the same old. And especially, we already saw it opening the show where KO show was that interaction that led to physical altercation. We don't need to see it in this. And I loved how this isn't about hatred to each other.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
This is about the title. It's about the situation. And it's about goddamn time for Kofi Kingston.
Exactly. This is one of those awesome feuds that you stumble upon because it's not a personal feud. Right? Like, yeah, sure, Daniel Bryan has kind of made it personal. They've added personal elements to the feud, right? You do that with every feud. But the feud itself, at its core, is not a personal issue. It's straight up competition. It's straight up, this is my time to shine. I am going to get this opportunity, even if it kills me. That's been the story. And it's a great story.
I love that Daniel is like, he's so good, man. The way that he's saying things that are like kind of heelish, kind of making it personal, like you said, against Kofi. But I love that he's saying it with like as if he thinks he's being respectful.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, like we're the same. Like, yeah, no, I understand. I think you're good. Like things like that. Yeah. You're like, oh, this son of a bitch. Oh.
Such a dick, isn't he? Like he's such a dick. But man, how about we go on to our MVPs of the week and our match of the week. So, do you want to start off with match of the week? We talked about it beforehand. There wasn't many great matches. I could have given it to the few that were good. I'm going to give it to the Baron Corbin and Rey Mysterio match for what it did for Corbin, for how good Corbin was with it. I really enjoyed the potential of the match and certain things of it. Little things of Ray going for the 5-star frog splash, missing, which is great. After he hit the 619, though, the ankle injury, obviously hope he's okay, but they sold it great if he's not. And if he is, the fact that he finished the match and didn't just like quick finish. I love that they finished it on a deep 6 rather than an end of days. Again, just showing how deadly Corbin's moveset is as an entirety. And it led to Kurt Angle, again, babyface, attacking the heel from behind. But we're like, yay! But I loved that. It got me more excited for, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I don't want to see Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. It got me more excited where I'm like, I'm very okay if this is the way that it goes. If it happens,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I guess there's really nothing else to say. Then you're gonna have to be okay with it, right?
Yeah. I'm not like ecstatic about it, but I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna look back on it and be like, that was shit. I'm gonna look back on it and be like, you know what? Kurt was doing the job of putting over, again, Baron Corbin is a guy that I think that WWE has a lot of faith in.
Yep.
And he's had some stumbles, but he's managed to maintain his character and his
mic work has improved tenfold.
Yes.
It's really good now.
This character change was amazing for him. So I think that if he beats Kurt at Mania, if that's the way that they go, I'm looking at it as Kurt passing the torch on to a younger superstar, doing him the favor of, listen, you need to be great. Because
and I mean,
this is your generation.
And I mean, for all we know, Kurt Angle could be very high on Baron Corbin, right? He might love what Baron Corbin brings to the table and is willing to do a job to him at WrestleMania. Maybe this was Kurt Angle's idea all along, saying, no, I want Baron Corbin, guys. Like, he's a star.
And if it goes down fantasy booking in my mind of Corbin beating Kurt and then maybe beating him down aggressively, like injuring type thing, like just being aggressive over the top about it. And if Jason Jordan does return at some point, maybe not in the near future, but at any point after that point where I retired Kurt Angle, and if
you have
they
a ready-made
return
feud?
Jason Jordan as a babyface, you have a ready feud between two up-and-coming, very talented in the ring superstars and I don't think that Jason Jordan can get booed if he's coming back as, I'm doing this, like, you ended my father's career, even though he was trying to go out on his own terms, you still put him out.
Yep.
I'm gonna pay back. And as a fan, I don't think that you can boo because it's essentially for Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, match of the week because of that and so many more. And Baron Corbin was my MVP as well because of just, he really shone through, and he shined for me this week.
Fair enough, man. You know what, Baron Corbin?
Shown.
Shown. Baron Corbin, you know, each and every single week he gets a lot of boos, but he is good at his job. We got to say that right now. We'll try to end this really quickly as I can see the sun's getting in your eyes there. For me, my match of the week is Miz versus Sanity, just for the level that it sold Miz as a true babyface to me, a fiery babyface. And it sold the idea of the Falls Count Anywhere match. And I'm really excited for that one at WrestleMania. Excited to see what Shane's going to jump off of at the show of shows. For me, my MVP, though, of the week, it's a little bit difficult for me to pick, so I'm going to pick the whole segment, the three women, Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair. Those three equally put on an amazing segment this week, segment of 2019 for me. And, yeah, I just love that, so I'm going to give them the MVP.
Yeah. Quick shout out too. I wanted to say the camera ops on this week were great. They did a great job of really showing superstars with the WrestleMania sign, which was amazing. Just like anytime a superstar went to a top rope, WrestleMania sign was it
was the focal point. Yep,
the focal point was great.
They would position the superstar on the left-hand side and the WrestleMania sign on the background. It looked great.
And then the flow of the show as well. So the director, the producer, whoever it was, the Vince McMahon, I guess, of it.
Yeah, two very good flowing shows. Neither of them felt overly long when I was watching them. So yeah, there you go. Where can you find you on Twitter there, Bob, as you're showing the screen?
Right. Hang on. Wait. Right there.
You got it. Bob's Wrestling. BOBSRASSLIN. You can find me on Twitter at Conman167, CONMAN167. The links are also down in the description below if you're watching here on YouTube or over on Anchor. But guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. I've been Con.
And I've been Bob.
And that was the Con and Bob Podcast.